Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen. With me today is longtime listener, poet laureate, and Taya Master Anne-Marie Young. This is your Daily Dose of Happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. And I'm also joined by Joy the cat, who has decided he wants to settle into the lap for, I don't know how long. We'll see if he stays long enough to be here for the entire episode. I wouldn't rule it out. We'll have to kind of play it by ear. But we're also joined by somebody that Anne-Marie knows very well. So Anne-Marie, I'm going to let you do the introductions today. I know I normally do that, but this one should come from you.
Oh my gosh, no pressure, Walt. Okay, so I would like to introduce the lovely Carol Dodson, who is my Reiki master or my Reiki lady. And we've only probably done a handful of sessions and she's amazing. So I thought it would be great for her to come on the show and talk all things Reiki.
You thought you weren't going to do a good job on the introduction? Really?
That was a lovely introduction, Anne-Marie. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well done indeed. That was good. Yeah. Welcome, Carol. We're glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
And it's going to be interesting to talk about Reiki too. I'm Reiki 2 level. I've never gone for the Reiki master, but I've done the Reiki 2. So we have at least some basis for the conversation. That's good. Why don't we start off by talking about how you got into Reiki in the first place? And what you're doing with it today. I mean, I know that you're helping people, but tell us a few stories.
Okay. Well, Reiki isn't something I even knew about 20 years ago. Honestly, I didn't even know what it was. And I'm a great believer now, having found it, and I'll tell you how in a second, that you don't wake up one day and say, guess what, I'm going to be a Reiki master and I'm going to make that part of my career. I always think that Reiki finds you. And all the people that I've had the pleasure of working with, training with over the years, have said the same thing, that Reiki finds you. And what happened is when I left uni, I started my career in media. I was always in newspapers and magazines. And I worked my way up to board level for a company called EMAT Fashion. But when my son was 2 years old, he's now 26, by the way, I left because, I felt, no one put pressure on me. I had to make that choice. People say you can have it all, being a mum and having a flying career, but something always gives. And for me, I was watching, it was my home life. I was working long hours. I traveled abroad quite a lot. I had to go to exhibitions and shows in other countries. So I made the decision then to leave media. It was hard. I guess looking back, it was who I was. I identified myself. I loved my job, but my child was more important. So I had a few years at home, more luck than judgment. Would have liked one sooner, but I had my daughter 5 years later, Grace. Grace by name, Grace by nature. And it was then, I'd always done a few freelance projects in London, but I said to my husband, I'm not a stay-at-home coffee mum. When Grace goes to school, I need to do something. I couldn't go back to media. It was like how can I explain it? Taken the corset off, stepped off the merry-go-round, and things had changed so much with the internet. It kind of left me behind. So Phil said to me, take your own advice, Carol, because before Grace was born, I had done a course in psychic and spiritual development. And this is no word of a lie, guys. It literally changed my life. And it had got me into various practices like meditation and started me on my course of learning about karma, auras. I was soaking it up, Native American traditions, Eastern traditions, all sorts of things. And he said, just take your time, put out there what you want and it'll start to come to you. Well, yeah, I really credit my husband with kind of getting me on this path that I started over 20 years ago. But what happened is I started to train as an aromatherapist, and I thought, well, when I'm trained as an aromatherapist, because all the different qualifications were taking a couple of years to get to the level I wanted, what am I going to do with it? I know in between times I'll train in Indian head massage, facials, and all the things that lovely treatments people have. But when I started doing my business, in the facials and Indian head, etc., I got so tired. I can't tell you how tired I got. I mean, ridiculously tired. And I can be quite dramatic at times. And I was like, there's something wrong with me. I've got a terrible illness. And I went back to my tutor who taught me aromatherapy, and she said, Carol, I think you're a healer. Well, I laughed. I'd never heard anything so stupid in my whole life. I thought, what is she talking about? I'd grown, just to give you a bit of background, I was brought up a Catholic in the Catholic Church, church every Sunday, every feast day. But kind of I'm grateful to it. It gave me, you know, a good background. But from a very young age, it was never my truth. So when she said the word, you're a healer, straight away I was thinking of Lazarus and all these things from the Bible and thinking, this is weird. You know, what's going on? And so I asked her to explain, and she talked to me a little bit about energy healing and said, I think you need to formalize this, and there are various routes you can take. And she mentioned the word Reiki. Now, at the time, my mother-in-law, who's sadly no longer with us, had been having Reiki for a number of months and was singing its praises. Well, this was just kind of blind faith, because the lady that taught me aromatherapy and all my other things, I adored her, still do. And I thought, well, you know, if she's told me to do it, I'll do it. And I got on and booked a course. And as soon as I had my Reiki 1, I did the traditional Usui Reiki to begin with, which is the basis of all Reiki, by the way. But honestly, guys, it felt like a coming home. I really can't explain it. It was enlightening. When I had my first attunement, I could feel the tears coming. And I just felt something that, well, literally, I can't describe in language. It was like a coming home. So I soon went on and did my Reiki 2. And then what I was finding is that when I was doing all these other treatments, I wasn't protecting myself. So I was literally soaking in everybody else's energy, you know, like a sponge, and feeling drained. So I started incorporating Reiki into the practices, the other treatments I was doing. But after a couple of years, it kind of gained momentum of its own. And I believe that in life, when you're supposed to do something, when you're supposed to be on a particular path, you can be catapulted along it if you're open to it. And I very soon found that I was dropping the Indian heads, the facials, because people just wanted Reiki from me. And it took about 8 years before I decided to do my mastership. And the only reason I did that, not because the title master's terribly fancy, and I didn't think it made me any better or worse than anybody who was doing level 1 or 2. The truth was I wanted to teach. I was getting a lot of people coming to me saying, can you teach me? And I needed my mastership to be able to teach. But it was really interesting doing the mastership, because A, it allowed me to teach, but B, it also made me realize that when you become a Reiki master, the qualification, the attunement doesn't make you a master. It sets you on a path for life. And really, I'd probably always been on that path since I started Reiki 1, but it was all about the teaching. So a few years later, I found, sorry, I hope I'm not talking too much. I found
you're doing fine.
that I was, I felt after probably a few years after the mastership, I felt there was more I could access, but I didn't know how. There was something telling me there's more here. And I was going to various Reiki conferences and etc. And spoke to one of the masters there, and she said, perhaps try, on top of your Usui Reiki, another form of Reiki. And I learned Reiki Seikin. And I was told at the time, and perhaps it's true because my Reiki seemed to open up, I don't know. I'm not an expert on that, but I believed it, that I did the level 1 to a mastership quite quickly in that, because I was already a trained master. But it gave me new attunements for myself, more symbols, more teachings, if you like. And I found then, that it just flowed, and I could go deeper and deeper. But now I believe just practice. It doesn't matter if you're a master, it doesn't matter if you're Reiki Seikin, Angelic Reiki, Karama Reiki, all the other types of Reiki that exist. I've come to realize in my practice over the last 15 years, and this is what I believe, Reiki is Reiki. And the more you practice this and work with this beautiful energy, of which we are part of, I believe, the stronger it gets.
Well, that makes total sense. I mean, Reiki, two Japanese words that mean life force. So, I mean, of course, anything that you do with life force is going to be life force is life force. It doesn't matter how you label it.
No, it doesn't. And I think, you know, I've also, the teaching I've done over the last few years as well, I've really simplified it, because I think, particularly if we think it came originally, I mean, energy healing's been around for thousands of years, isn't it? But the origins of Reiki, of the Usui Reiki, started around 1920. A guy called Mikao Usui, that you'll know about, came from Japan and gradually via Hawaii came to the West. And I think when it came to the West, I don't know if this is true, but it's just my feeling, we kind of complicate things a bit.
You think?
Yeah, we do. And it all seems terribly, you know, we try and intellectualize it too much. And I've certainly, my experience is we don't need to intellectualize it, we just need to experience it. So I've simplified a lot of the way I teach now. And I'm almost changed the focus, because for me, Reiki is about awakening, it's about finding your true self.
Well, one of the most fascinating things for me in my Reiki journey has been noting how different people on their Reiki journeys have vastly different experiences.
Absolutely.
Vastly different ways of understanding it, vastly different passionate entry points and exit points and middle points. And I mean, it's literally different from one person to the next. Shortly after I got my Reiki 2, I went to a Reiki share and ended up in a subgroup with 2 Reiki masters, both of whom were incredibly psychic. Just, I mean, literally everything that it was almost like that they weren't even talking much about what happened during the Reiki session itself. It's more like, what were they getting from you psychically? Like, okay, I'm like, I have on that, I don't get psychic messages that way. I mean, for me, Reiki is entirely a physical, non-touch sensation experience. I don't even touch. I mean, traditional Reiki, you're supposed to do some touching. I don't touch at all. I hover all the time. And yet there are other people who all they do is touch. There are other people, there are people who consider Reiki to be a purely physical thing with a little bit of a spirituality to it. There are other people that go practically off the deep end with the spiritual side. I mean, literally,
I know.
There are so many different ways of understanding Reiki. It's just incredible.
I agree. And I think, you know, each individual will know what Reiki means to them. It's universal life force energy, which I don't believe we're separate from. I believe we're part of that. But once people go on their Reiki path, I agree, everybody will have a different experience. And I think that that's right for them, you know. And I do think the more one practices Reiki, so I practice Reiki in some form every day, be it with clients. The days I don't have clients, because I'm running groups or out walking my dog or seeing friends or whatever, I still self Reiki. And I believe, certainly for me, that Reiki has opened up my intuition and psychic abilities. I would not call myself a psychic, but it has opened up those abilities. But then when I look back, they were probably always there.
I think you're also really touching an important point when you say that it has a lot to do with the individual in terms of how it is that they're understanding and interpreting it and experiencing it. As an example, in my own case, you mentioned how you went through the Catholic Church and that was your upbringing and all that. For me, I was brought up in a Presbyterian church, which I rejected in my teens, and I left organized religion entirely. One of the things, the pieces that came along with that was a real complete distrust of anything ceremonial. So when it came in Reiki to being attuned, I said, oh, we're going to do a ceremony. Okay, well, I'll just, you know, I'll put up with it. No big deal. To my amazement, the attunement literally lifted my ability far beyond where I had been 5 minutes ago. And I had to say, what the hell was that?
So you had a great experience. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. And I would agree with you there. I too stopped going to church, I mean, in my teens. And deviated from the Catholic Church a long time ago. Like I said, I knew from a very young age. I couldn't verbalize it, but it's probably as young as 7, I knew it wasn't my truth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And from a very young age, when I say about the psychic side, you know, I've had visions, I've seen spirit on occasions. I've seen spirits, and I've had experiences that I haven't been able to explain when I was younger.
You know, this is fascinating. 5 minutes ago, you told us that you weren't psychic, and you just laid out some psychic.
I know, and I actually, I am psychic, but something I don't develop. I don't. It's one of those things. I guess we're all really. I'm not this. I'm not that. I don't label myself a psychic. I'd never want to give anybody a psychic reading. It's not the path I want to go down. But yes, I do have psychic abilities. I've had them since I was young. Yeah, I have. Yeah. But now you mentioned something which was interesting there, Walt. It'd be interesting, Anne-Marie, for you soon to tell us about your experiences, not just with me, but how you feel about the whole thing. Because I've actually had some people coming to me for Reiki over the last few years, where and why they've come, I don't know, because I'm very grateful they've tried it again, where they've had a bad experience. And they've had a bad experience because straight away the practitioner has started talking about, I see your mother, I see your father, I'm getting bruises here. And, you know, that's what can give Reiki a bad name, I believe, because that's not in essence what Reiki is. So I think we all develop abilities around it, but this is where discernment comes in. And this is where, as a practitioner, you've got to really read your audience. I personally would never launch into that. They've not come for a psychic reading, and I wouldn't give them one anyway. I don't feel qualified. And if I
it actually violates a key rule, as Reiki is usually taught. The key rule is you do it with permission. I mean, if you're putting something like that out there to the person that you're treating, and they didn't give permission for that, you just violated a basic tenet of Reiki.
Absolutely. The people that come to me for Reiki, I believe, are coming, well, for all different reasons. But if they want a psychic reading, they're going to go to a psychic. Yeah. So I think you've got to be really careful as Reiki practitioners, Reiki masters, whatever you like to call yourself, as you progress on your journey and perhaps you become more open to lots of different things, you've got to be very careful how you deal with your clients. And for me, I hope, and I do try always to just say very true to why the client is there and to do the job in hand. And it's about not me healing them either. It's about them healing themselves, but me allowing the conditions for them to heal. And
then Carol called you out, Anne-Marie. So time for you to jump in here. What's your take on what she's saying?
Well, I've had Reiki by a few people, and I would say Carol's Reiki to me is Reiki on steroids compared to what I've had before. Because I've had Reiki before and it's been lovely. You know, I've got him like really bouncy and they've calmed me down and it's been lovely. But I just feel the healing journey that I've been on since being with Carol is just insane and so quick. So we've had about 4 sessions, just going to go into our 5th. And I think it's been a bit of a roller coaster. I've experienced like anger and stuff that I wasn't expecting. I had my inner child crying out of my chest. We had one day, and it really was powerful stuff in the fact that Carol could use that intuition to pick up what was going on as well. Just by pre-conversations before Reiki. She'd do the Reiki and then we'd discuss what we both went through. And then exactly as Carol mentioned, it's that work in between. Yeah. So it was just like, Carol will point, you need to work on this, or this is what's come up. Not that you need to work on it. This is what's come up. And I'm like, yeah, kind of been delving that one in the back of my head for a while. So I'd go away and I'd work on that. And then I'd go to the next one and then something else would come up and then it'd be something else. And I'm just finding it such a powerful and insightful therapy, which I wasn't expecting. I just wanted to, like, I'd had a bad year. I felt a bit lost, wanted to just calm myself, bring myself back to one. And I didn't expect it to be such a healing journey,
Wow.
Yeah.
which is what I'm finding it.
Well, it sounds like, from what you're describing, it sounds like the way Carol provides the Reiki treatments for you is, well, first of all, very much in alignment with how Reiki is taught. I mean, the way it was taught to me is that you don't actually do anything when you're performing Reiki. You're basically helping to get the flow going so that the person you're doing the work on can actually do the work themselves without realizing they're doing the work. Your whole goal there is to just get the flow going. And it sounds like that's what Carol does with you. And apparently, to use your phrase, to do it on steroids, that I interpret that to mean she does it so well that she's out of the flow, from an interference perspective entirely. Literally, her entire role is get your flow going and then let you do what it is you're going to do, and you apparently do it to the nth degree. So yeah, kudos to you, Carol, because you're doing good stuff there.
Thank you, and thank you, Anne-Marie. I'm really glad you're benefiting from it. What couple of things to say there is, I trained in holistic mentorship because what I was finding in the early days of giving Reiki is, you know, as you rightly said, well, everybody, and Anne-Marie, you've had different experiences with different practitioners. So have I, because I still go to Reiki. But what can sometimes happen is it dislodges something, or they feel anger. You mentioned anger.
Yeah.
I think, why am I feeling angry? And then at the end of the day, the practitioner can just say, okay, well, session's finished, you know, that was lovely, but I'm angry. Why am I feeling angry? You know, or what can I do about this? And I didn't want people to just leave and wait to come back the next session. It happens, something happens again. I wanted to be able to, you know, be able to mentor them through and give them tools when they leave me. If they come back, great. If they don't, that's fine too, but tools to use in life. And that's very much part of what I've built my business on. It is Reiki, but also combined, because I'm a meditation teacher, with meditation. As you know, we often, if we have the time, at the end of the session, I lead you on a meditation or a guided visualization, always in tune with something that I've picked up that might be going on somewhere. Usually it's about settling the nervous system. It can be about self-love. It could be about releasing. And then when you leave, we talk about what's happened, don't we? And I say, well, you know, give you some tools until the next time. So it's a whole, looking at the whole holistic thing, not just bam, bam, there you go, thanks.
I think it also helps because we'll have a conversation beforehand, and you're probably, where you say you're not psychic, but you're getting words and you're getting themes and you're picking up on it. Yeah. So if I say something and something will like stand out to you quite quickly, and you'll be going, oh, okay, let's just pick up on that before we go in, and then it all just ties together nicely.
Yeah.
Well, what you're describing is it's what I like to call the psychic's dilemma, because so much of what a psychic receives, the psychic himself or herself really has no context to know what it means. So this is what I picked up from having interviewed many psychics here on the show over the years. The number one thing that a psychic needs to overcome is not knowing what it means, put it out there and see what the result is. And just being willing to trust, no matter how stupid it sounds, to actually just say whatever it is, and then be shocked 99% of the time when it comes back, oh, well, that makes total and perfect sense. And then you want to find out, okay, well, tell me, how does it make sense? Because I really don't know.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're kind of like walking a tightrope when you're a psychic, when you're a Reiki master or providing a Reiki treatment to somebody, because you are trying to help them by giving them information, and you don't even know if the information is good or meaningful until they tell you otherwise.
True. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Or you're in the dark a bit, you know, if you pick up something and somebody just stares at you and you're like, well, come on, help me out a bit here. Is that right? Not. Come on, give me something. But what I find in the sessions, we talk about psychic, but what I find happens in my sessions, it reaches a certain point, and I never know when that's going to be. I always say to you, don't I, Anne-Marie? And I say to all of my clients, okay, you've told me, I don't know. People often say, I want to work on this today, or I've just come here because I'm feeling depressed. I'm got grief, I don't like myself, I don't love myself, I've lost my mojo, all sorts of things. Okay, the list is endless. And I always say, thank you for sharing that. But until we go in, I have no idea what's going to happen and what we're going to pick up. Because somebody might come to me because their knees are really sore, but the doctor can't find anything. Autoimmune diseases, or conditions rather, is still a dis-ease of the body, isn't it? But autoimmune conditions, I've had lots of people that come to me with autoimmune conditions, because really there's not a lot that medics can do about that. It's just like, well, rest up, you know. It's just the body kind of reacting, you know, you've just got to rest up. And it's only when I go in, what I find is, crazy as this might sound, might not to you, I hope it doesn't, but after a certain period of time, the body begins to speak to me.
Yes.
And I can hear what's going on. And if the body hasn't spoken to me, I will go to the end. And this is where I usually touch the shoulders. I touch the back of the head. I never touch the torso. And sometimes I will touch the knees if they're crying, the ankles and the feet. And it's often when I go to the end and I am holding the ankles, and I will say to somebody's body, what are you trying to tell me? What are you telling Anne-Marie, Walt, Carol? What are you saying? What's going on? And I get downloads. And that's when I can say to people, it's not psychic in the point of view that I say, you know, you're going to be traveling to California and you're going to meet a tall, handsome man. It's saying, you know, there's pain in your sacral, or your heart is crying, or, you know, your solar plexus is very low compared to the rest. You've lost your power. Where's this, you know, what do we need to do about this? So that's in the way that I feel I'm psychic when I give Reiki.
That's perfectly in alignment with everything I know about psychic. Because all the psychics that I've interviewed, overwhelmingly, they receive a download. And what it really comes down to at that point is what I call the psychic flavor. The psychic flavor is my way of describing the fact that each person receiving a download will interpret that download within the context of their own understanding of life, the universe, and everything. In other words, it'll have their shape to it. So when you're getting your download, Carol, you have a Carol shape to it. If I get a download, I have a Walt shape. Anne-Marie gets an Anne-Marie shape. And it's kind of like it's a flavoring. It isn't even. I mean, the basic content is still the same, but because of the way we interpret it, because we have, you know, different understandings, different things that we've learned over the course of our lifetimes and so forth, it creates a flavor that influences the way that we express it.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And that's why I would, you know, I think we've got to be very responsible with the feedback we give. Yeah, very responsible about how we give feedback. I think it's perfectly acceptable to say to somebody, you know, your sacral was low, or your solar was low, or, you know, there's a blockage here, but we've worked to free it. But yeah, very responsible with the feedback. The other thing, sorry, it was just coming to me as I was talking to you.
Go for it.
That I was going to say about this, where it starts to happen. And I don't know if you've experienced this, Walt, as a giver of Reiki. Anne-Marie, I don't know if you experienced this as the receiver. But what I experience every single time I give Reiki to someone, there is a point. And I never know if it's going to be within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour through, or right towards the end. But there is a point when everything changes for me. The whole energy in the room changes. I am no longer it's like we've entered together another dimension. And that's when the magic starts to happen for me. And I use magic in a loose term, because I always say to people, Reiki isn't hocus pocus, woo woo magic. It's real, you know, working within the energy sphere. But that's for me when the magic starts to happen, because something changes. And it's just like we enter another dimension. Time almost stands still. I've got no idea. And that's when things start to happen. That's when the body starts to speak to me. That's when I can feel what's going on. That's when I can start, if I'm privileged enough, very occasionally to see auras, but I can definitely feel them. I can see things coming off. And I never know when it's going to happen. But that's the bit I absolutely love. but you can't force it. You've just got to go with it and see when it happens.
And
Is
that's
that
a great
something you experienced, Rob?
Well, no. It's a great description, and it's a great example of how it is Reiki is experienced differently by different people in vastly different ways. For instance, when Carol was talking about how she'll sense a certain energy going on somewhere in a particular part of the body, I experienced that as a physical experience where literally it's almost like I can feel a vortex of energy going on there. And I can feel how far from the body is. I can feel how strong it is, how weak, where it's moving to. I can feel where it's sending me to. I don't get any shifts in dimension going on. I don't get any particular messages coming through that says this particular vortex is all about the fact that this person just left her husband, and then
I don't
like that ever happened.
I don't get that detailed information.
Well, okay, but my point is, I don't get anything. I don't get any downloads like that. The only download I get is, wow, I'm feeling something there, and it's moving over here.
That's great too.
That's it. That's my entire experience. I love it. It's a very interesting experience.
Yeah. No, I must admit, I do not get information like that. Neither would I want it. Like somebody.
I don't blame you.
I don't think people would come to me.
I don't think you'd keep doing it, to be honest.
Darkest secrets. They'd be written all over them, and they say, "I'm not going to her." I'm getting up to. No, it's more just like a whole shift of energy when like I said, the magic starts to happen. But yeah, you're so right. Reiki it's open. It's taught in different ways. We experience it in different ways. The receiver experiences it in different ways. And you'll know this, Anne-Marie, from the sessions you've had, how each one could be slightly different.
Yeah, definitely. There'll be times where I'm awake, but I'm not awake, and I'm not in the room. I don't know where I've gone. It's just a white blank. And then there'll be other times, I mean, the time we had the anger was like really fierce at me. And it was just coming out of my feet into a dragon. It's like it was sucking all the anger out of me. So I have some really freaky stuff that happens, and I have stuff that just is blank, and I don't know where I am and what I'm doing.
But what happened after the anger? You remember?
It disappeared.
Yeah.
It disappeared.
Because what happened is you felt that because it was something that was there that was ready to be released in a particular session. I always say to you, and I always say to all my clients, you will only release today what you are ready to release. The body is a very intelligent thing. It's a very intelligent being. And, if people came for Reiki and everything came out at once, we'd all end up basket cases. So, we don't want that. We want it to be gradual and gentle and lovely, how people can handle each step. And that's what I love about Reiki. It's almost like we go through the layers. As humans, we're multi-layered, multi-dimensional beings. And the more we practice, the more you give yourself Reiki or you go to someone else for Reiki, the more you have any sort of healing, the deeper it can go.
I think that's true. Yeah. And it's really an extension of what I was mentioning earlier, the flavoring that each one of us brings to these experiences. Because it's not just about the download, it's also about that experience of what is the Reiki experience like, both as a giver and as a receiver. It works both ways. It
certainly does. And the other thing, I'm a great believer in is we attract the right people for us.
Oh yeah.
The world needs more holistic practitioners for sure at the moment, my belief. And it never bothers me, that there might be somebody doing Reiki in my next village or whatever, because each of us attract to us who's right for us. And every day when I start my day and I do my little bit of Reiki meditation combined, I always say, please bring the right people for me. Please let me attract the right people for me that are good for me, and I will be good for them, because I'm not for everyone. I know that, and not everyone's for me. So we're drawn to, they always say, don't they, when the student is ready, the master appears. Yeah. Many masters, many students.
And that's funny because I met you at a wellbeing fair that our town put on. It was the first one. And I actually thought it was the following weekend. It's only because I heard an advert on the radio. I was like, oh, heck, it's today.
Did you come on the Saturday? Did you
Sorry?
come on the Saturday? Did you come on the Saturday or Sunday? I can't remember.
I did. I came on the Saturday, and I was, right. Like I say, I hadn't planned because I thought it was the following week. But I knew I had to go. I was on my own. Nobody could come with me because it helps if you give them the right day. So I came, and then you were up there on the stage and you were talking about everything that like we talk on the show and everything that I believe in, that we're all one and this is basically just our meat suit and we're all connected and about energy and attraction and things like that. And I was just like, oh, this lady's wonderful. So I went to chat to you at your table, and when you're just like, I have to see this lady. I have to go here. I wasn't planning on it or finding somebody wasn't looking for it. But, like you said, that person will appear when you need them. And my goodness, have you helped?
Oh, thank you. I'm so pleased that you came. And I'm so pleased the Reiki journey is helping you. I really am.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. So how does Reiki tie into the law of attraction?
Oh my goodness. How doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it does, doesn't it? Completely.
I mean, the law of attraction applies in every area of our life, and Reiki is about life force. I mean, it's kind of hard to find an area where it doesn't cover. It's going to be a very short list.
Yeah.
And you're healing people of things so that they can then attract what they want, because we've certainly done a lot on like self-care. And looking after yourself, and you're like, I wasn't connected to my higher self, and building on the connection and all that work in between that, I've done and you've advised has really helped. And obviously that helps you then to attract more of that good stuff because you're not stuck.
It's about, isn't it, the law of attraction? We're all manifesting all the time, aren't we? All the time. And a lot of the time we're inadvertently manifesting, aren't we? People
I think it's fair to say most of the time,
without realizing they're manifesting. And they're not always manifesting what they want. Quite a lot of the time people manifest what they don't want, because every thought, every feeling becomes a vibration, and that vibration, like attracts like. We're magnets, really. So for me with the Reiki, it's about raising the vibration, because if we want to attract whatever, not many people say, I want to attract bad things in my life. People want to attract good things in their life: love, abundance, joy, health. But they're all high vibrational frequencies. But if we are carrying emotional baggage, emotional blocks, trauma, if we don't love ourselves, if we carry a lack of compassion for ourselves or others, if we can't forgive easily, then how can we manifest from that vibration? So it's about raising the vibration, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's also the motivation behind this show, because the show started 13 and a half years ago when I needed help. That's why I started it. We covered law of attraction pretty thoroughly in the first couple hundred episodes. We're over 2,000 episodes. So in order to justify the other 1,800, I had to find a way to keep going. And for me, it was the subtitle, Your Daily Dose of Happy, was introduced at that point, because I wanted to get my vibration and everybody else's vibration up at the end of every episode. So again, same kind of motivation is what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. You've done that many episodes covering a range.
I have a lot of help.
How long have you been on the show now, Anne-Marie?
Oh gosh, I must be 4 years.
4 or 5. I would say 5 or 6.
It's probably 5 this year, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
That's amazing. And so it sounds like I'm interviewing you, but how did you two meet then? Because you're in America, you're in Wiltshire, England.
So how did we meet? Well, so basically I was a listener. I had a coach. My first life coach was one of Walt's co-hosts. So I listened in because I was told about the show. So, and then the coach no longer was the co-host, but I still kept listening. And then Walt was like, if anybody wants to come on and help co-host, because you were doing it 5 days a week then, and you need a little bit of extra help. And I was just like, do you know what? If you ever need somebody to step in occasionally, I'll do it. And no, that's not Walt. Walt was like, come on, let's do it every week. So I kind of went in and I enjoyed it. And we did it with another guy called Louis. And honestly, I mean, I don't think I feel like I didn't add any perspective because I could just listen to the two of them chat. Oh, the amount I learned, I felt like I was still a listener because you still learn from it. So that's how I met Walt. And I just think he's wonderful. I love the way he challenges, I love the way he talks, and I love the shows. So I'm a big fan as well as a listener, as well as a co-host.
Gosh, that's fantastic, isn't it? Oh, well done you. See, you attracted that. You manifested it. Yeah, that's
well,
amazing.
we both did.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah.
So Walt, do you give Reiki to people now, or?
Not recently. My most recent Reiki session was about 5-6 months ago, something like that. And it was a Reiki share, and haven't done one since then. I do occasionally, and very, very occasionally, I'll do long distance Reiki for someone that I know, and always with permission. But it's not something that I do frequently. No.
So guys, and what's long distance Reiki? How does that work?
Pretty much the same way regular Reiki works. Well, you can send Reiki basically, Anne-Marie, through time and space. So I don't know how Walt does it. I mean, we can do it in many different ways. You can do it via Zoom or a connection like this and see each other, or you can tune into somebody, again, as you said, with their permission. And there's different ways. I guess different practitioners have different ways of doing it. When I send distance Reiki through COVID, I would give Reiki sessions to all my regulars, but I would always do it through some sort of Zoom link because I liked to be able to see them. Sure. They were lying down, but they had they would close their eyes and hear my voice, but I would like to see. When I could see them, I could really kind of give the session, but rather than just doing it in silence or with music, I talked them through a Reiki meditation. So starting at the crown and going down. So they probably half of them fell asleep, which was fine, but I was talking them through everything I was doing. But if I give distance Reiki now, there's different ways, and it depends who's having it. I can picture them, I can have a photograph of them, or I can just sit and kind of hold them really in my mind and in my heart. And I just sit and channel Reiki for a certain amount of time. Is that what you do, Walt, or anything different?
Yeah, not so different. I mean, what you're essentially saying is you find a way to focus. That's why you like the Zoom session. It gave you a way to focus.
Yeah.
And you need that focus so that you can hold the energy the way you need to. And when you hold the energy the way you need to, it transmits. You don't have to actually do anything. It's not like, okay, Zoom, I'm sending off the energy. Well, you can do that if you want to, but it's not needed. You can with or without it, it still works.
Yeah, it does. It's incredible. And people can report back that they feel it. They can feel something, which is really powerful, isn't it?
Well, really that was part of the attunement thing, because I've now been through the 2 attunements from Reiki 1 and Reiki 2. I haven't done the Reiki Master yet. But both of the attunements, especially the first one, it happened in both cases, though. Afterward, I could immediately sense that somehow my connection had increased. That's the best way I can think to say it. Like like before when I took Reiki 1, before doing Reiki 1, I'd actually done Reiki before without realizing it was Reiki. I'd helped my ex when she would get migraines, and we I think we actually picked up a page out of a Reiki manual that she had gotten somewhere, and it described part of the process for doing a session. So I did what it described on the manual page, and I found that with my left hand, I was able to sense those energy vortexes that I was talking about earlier. I couldn't feel it with my right hand, but I could feel it with my left hand. And not all the time, but like 80-90% of the time I could feel it. After the attunement, immediately after the attunement, of course, you know what it's like when you go through a Reiki class. Immediately after, then you actually do sessions. People do a session on you, you do a session on them, that kind of thing. And I was astonished. Not only was the power in my left hand so much bigger than it was before, but my right hand had gained the same amount of power. So now all of a sudden, both hands, I was like feeling all this energy going on. I'm saying, what the hell happened here? And then after the second Reiki, it was like the whole thing expanded even further. I mean, I went to a Reiki share shortly after doing Reiki 2, And the second person that we worked on in our little subgroup, I literally was standing like 6 feet away from her as she was lying on the table, and I'm saying, "Oh my God, this energy is incredible." I mean, is everybody else feeling this energy that I'm feeling? Because I mean, well, first of all, she was a Reiki master and very much in tune with herself.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she was giving off this energy that was like incredible, and I was feeling it with my hands, with my
And you
body,
could feel
my
it
face,
from
like, oh
6
my
feet away.
goodness.
So she had or has probably still has a very powerful aura.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was no doubt about that at all. But the attunement process is also part of that experience, because would I have experienced it in that same way before I went through the attunement? I'm not so sure I would have.
Yeah. Probably not. No.
Yeah.
Like I said, my first attunement was really powerful. Not only did I really feel something, but it was just the effect it had on me personally. Forget the hands and energy with anyone else. It affected me. I just went to somewhere, I can't even explain, the most beautiful place. And like I said, I can only describe it as it was like coming home. I was crying. It was the most beautiful, wonderful feeling. And I can still get that feeling when I self Reiki. Not all the time, because sometimes, you'll know this, sometimes you have 5 minutes, sometimes. But if I can sit up, I'm pointing there because my treatment room is in the garden up that way. I call it my healing sanctuary. But if I can get over there really early in the morning before people come, or often when people leave at the end of the day, that's when I can kind of forget. I've got no time limits then, and I can really get into a deep session. Oh my God, the power is incredible. But there's no doubt Reiki's changed my life for the better. Absolutely.
I think it changes the life of everybody who gets involved in it. I don't think anybody who's ever gotten involved hasn't found the change. It's possible that there are people who experienced change and they didn't like it and they shied away from it. I haven't met anybody like that.
No.
But I can't imagine anyone going through it and not having some kind of experience.
Yeah.
Because it's powerful. It's potent.
It's very potent. But it's only potent if you use it. It's like working a muscle, I find. I've trained many people over the years. Some have gone on to become Reiki practitioners. Some have used it because they're teachers. It's a great thing to have, isn't it? Yoga teachers, some psychotherapists I've trained, all different sorts of people. But sometimes people come back and say, I'm not feeling anything, this isn't happening. And I say, how often are you giving Reiki to yourself? Well, I don't. Well, then it's not going to happen. It's not. This is my belief. You don't learn Reiki. You become attuned. Boom, that's it. You've got it for life. It's like working a muscle. The more you use it, the more you're in tune with it. The more you call on this energy, the more you recognize it. I say call on it, but you see, I don't know if you believe this. I don't believe the energy is separate to us. I believe we're part of that universal energy.
Absolutely.
And when we have Reiki, it's an awakening. It's awakening us to who we truly are. And to me, I would describe it as bringing us back to wholeness. That's the way I see it. But, it's like anything. I can't train someone and they go away and never use it and then try it once and go, oh, didn't get any feeling. You've got to keep doing it. That's what I think anyway. And certainly for me, the more I use it, not just on others, but on myself, the more powerful and the more changes take place within me, for sure. It's a wonderful journey, and I don't, it doesn't end.
I think that's true. In fact, I was thinking about somebody that I know, somebody that Anne-Marie knows that I know too, who has been through Reiki training. She, I believe, has done both Reiki 1 and Reiki 2. And she made that complaint. I didn't even think about it until you said it just now, but she made the complaint that she never really felt anything. And one thing I noticed with her when involved with Reiki sessions that involved her is that her energy centers were very much blocked off. I mean, it was very rare to be able to sense a vortex going on or anything like that. There were times I could do it, but it was very, very low key. And it had a lot to do with
what are you talking about? You couldn't feel her chakras open?
Not just
Or,
chakras. I mean, like
anyway.
if she had like a pain in her shoulder, like if somebody feels pain in their shoulder, normally I can feel the energy coming off that painful shoulder.
Oh, I
But
see
if
what
she
you're
had
saying.
that,
Yeah.
if she had something like that, it was there, but I had to really reach for it to find it. You know, I could eventually find it, but it was so deeply buried. And I think a lot of it had to do with what was going on internally with her. I'd say actually almost all of it was going on internally with her.
Yeah.
And so we end up blocking ourselves off. That's what blocks are really all about. She was very good at it.
Yeah.
If you're going to say that there are skills in life, that was one of her skills. She was really good at blocking herself off.
Blocking herself off. And that's the funny thing. If she's blocking herself off, then how can you give and create the conditions for other people to heal? You can't. Well, it's something that really resonated with me when I started my Reiki journey. We all get blocks. We all do. We all carry bits of trauma. Micro traumas happen every day. It doesn't have to be a major thing, for God's sake. Might be that you've overslept, or you've had a power cut, and the electric blanket isn't working in the treatment room, or whatever. We have micro traumas every day, but we all need to be cleansed and cleared. And that's one thing that was emphasized to me. Don't ever try and work on other people unless you really work on yourself. Yeah.
Well, it also is why I think your advice was good. The advice that said, keep working, keep doing the work, even if you haven't felt it yet. Because what you're really saying to that person is, if you keep doing the work on yourself, you're going to get that breakthrough moment where you do start to experience it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd ever like to learn it, Anne-Marie?
I don't know. I'm not sure if I would be a healer.
Well, I didn't take it with the idea of becoming a healer. I took it just for the idea of getting the experience of it.
Yeah.
I think it would certainly interest me. Whether I would want to do it full time, for me, I just know I'm drawn to writing or drawing or something creative like that. For me, I just know that's my path. But I love learning new stuff. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, before probably not. Since working with you and feeling just that power, but like you say, Reiki on yourself. Actually, that would be a really good thing to just go through and just learn how to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, as I think about it, the last Reiki share I went to, there were probably about 12 people at the Reiki share. And if I remember correctly, 3 of them were regular teachers or practitioners giving services to other people. All the others, including myself, did not do that. So I think it's fair to say, at least in our grouping, the vast majority of people who take the Reiki aren't doing it to become a healer. They're doing it to develop their own connection to energy.
Yeah, and to create. Yeah, absolutely. I'd say the same. I'd say probably as high as 80% of the people, 85, 90% of the people I've trained actually haven't gone on to use it as a business or anything like that. They've used it for their own self-development and their own purposes.
Right.
Yeah.
In fact, the group that I was in, there was a woman who was involved as a volunteer at a farm where they they provided a life really to horses that had previously been race horses.
Yes.
And that I learned quite a bit about how abusive it is to be a racehorse. Thoroughbreds aren't necessarily treated very kindly, contrary to what we might like to think. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to learn how to apply the Reiki to the horses. They actually did a Reiki share at the farm at one point. So the whole group went out to and the stories that came out of that were just astonishing.
Oh, God.
Because horses are very receptive to energy. They're incredibly receptive.
Really spiritual animals. So receptive. I agree. I think there's a farm place near here called Greatwood, which is like a home for racehorses. And I know of various practitioners that are animal Reiki practitioners that have been there and given Reiki to the horses, and they say they respond so beautifully. But horses are used a lot in healing of humans, aren't they?
Well, that's just it. I was just going to say that horses actually perform Reiki.
Yeah. I've seen some gorgeous videos where, people with sort of PTSD and trauma have gone into a field with a horse and just gently touched it and stroked it. And kind of this magnetic energy between the horse and the human, and it's you know, it's been wonderful for that human being on some level. That horse has helped heal that human. It's wonderful, isn't it?
It is. In fact, one of
Yeah.
my other co-hosts, Jody Lynn Craven, lives in Canada, in Alberta, and she has a
Yeah.
farm, and she has a few horses on the farm. It's one of her favorite things is having those horses and tending to those horses because
I
of
bet.
that exact reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fantastic. Well, I'm a great believer. I mean, not everyone is drawn to Reiki, certainly to learn it, also to receive it. But I do wish, particularly in today's world, that I think we might have talked about this, Anne-Marie, I'm not sure, but how, you know, everything starts on an energetic level, doesn't it? Everything. You know, every dis-ease within the body has started somewhere. And today, you know, we have so many, particularly youngsters, you know, people under the age of 30 who are suffering from depression, some quite young children. And I don't know about in America, Walt, but here
Oh,
it
it's
seems
a
that
problem.
antidepressants are given out like sweets.
Oh, all the time.
You know, you just, somebody goes and says, well, I'm a bit fed up today, and, you know, I had a row with my husband. This is an honest story. It happened about 5 years ago, a client of mine. And so I went to the doctor. I was feeling down, you know, weren't getting on so well. And they just prescribed me a load of antidepressants, and I'm not sure whether to take them or not. And I just said, oh, okay, well, I will never interfere with that. You know, I trust you know what's best for you. But did they question you, offer anything else? No. And I think, my God, just imagine if we could take part of that budget that's spent on drugs and just say to people when they come initially, and I'm not talking about the people that, you know, we all need the medical profession, and my extended family, you know, have benefited from it, you know, a lot. And I'm so grateful. You know, the NHS to me, they've been wonderful to members of my family. But they're overworked. They are overworked. And if people are getting down, getting depressed, there's got to be another way to try first. You know, I would love to see doctors, when somebody goes and depressed, putting them on a course of meditation, a course of Reiki, and prescribing half an hour a day, at least, out in nature. And let's see where that takes you in 4 months. And I really mean that. I'm so passionate about that. I have had so many people come to me who've been feeling really down, you know, been given antidepressants. I will never say take them. I will never say don't take them. That is not my place. I will always say I trust that you will know what's right for you. But through meditation, like the groups we do, one-to-one, I'll often do one-to-one meditations with people, and through Reiki, you know, they've lifted their spirits. They have found a connection to life again.
Yeah.
And, you know, I really do feel that, was it Einstein or somebody said, I can't remember, somebody a lot cleverer than me, but said that, you know, energy frequency is going to be the medicine of the future, but we should be starting now.
Probably Tesla, actually. But yes, I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I mentioned Reiki shares a couple of times now. Are Reiki shares a thing there in Britain?
Yes, they are.
They are. Okay.
I don't know of any around here, and I have to be honest with you, Walt, I would love to run some Reiki shares. I just haven't got the time at the moment. I really haven't. But yes, it is something that happens here. I have held them in the past, and I know that if I perhaps looked it up on the internet, there would be some. And it's a really nice thing to do.
Well, the reason I brought it up for Anne-Marie, I mean, if you were thinking about whether or not to perhaps take a Reiki 1, one of the reasons to take Reiki 1 is that it qualifies you to go to a Reiki share. And Reiki shares are really interesting experiences.
It's funny because it's just kind of flicked a switch in my head, because before I was like, oh, it's not something I want to do. But actually, you know, as you've been talking, doing it on yourself.
Yeah.
There's a seed planted.
I do that every day, actually.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Until we mentioned it right here, I didn't think of it as Reiki, but it really is Reiki. I have mentioned it previously on the show, just not in the context of Reiki. But periodically throughout the day, if I find I need to rebalance myself, I'll just put my hand over my heart and just hold it there.
Absolutely.
I don't meditate. I don't do special breathing. All I do is just hold my hand there. And if I do that for at least a minute, something shifts in me and I feel better.
Absolutely.
Well, that's Reiki. I just didn't I hadn't thought of it that way, but that's what that is.
Of course it is. And anyone can do Reiki. You don't actually have to be trained in it, you know. Really, I have had some amazing experiences teaching level 1. I have had some amazing experiences from the students giving me Reiki. because, you know, just they've got it. They've got it, you know.
Yeah, you learn a lot in that Reiki 1 class.
Oh, you certainly do. But no, Reiki share, it's a lovely thing. Do you go to them regularly, or just periodically?
Like I said, the last one I've been to was about 5 months ago.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. But no, they're definitely around here. But when I get some more time back, I would love to do Reiki share. But at the moment, I can't commit to any more evenings or things like that.
I get it. I totally understand it.
Yeah,
I know the ones who do run the Reiki shares, they are Reiki masters and they love it. They for them, it's almost like a vacation.
Yeah.
Because they're not on stage. They're not on display.
Yes.
They're just part of the crowd at that point, and they like that.
It's true. And they can receive as well as give.
Absolutely.
But I do make sure that I go for Reiki myself and other practices, you know. I really invest in myself in that way. But I do see Reiki share as something I'll be doing in a few years, you know, when I haven't got my young adults at home and I've got other commitments, family commitments. So when I haven't, you know, when time frees up a bit, because you can overcommit. I find you can overcommit, especially
you
with
think
the work.
So? Okay, yeah. Well, that's experience a lot of people have.
Yeah, and then you find, and then with the sort of work I do, you know, I don't want to get frazzled. I can't be. It's really important, actually, to often just step back and say no, enough. Otherwise, we're not practicing kind of what we preach, if you like.
Yeah,
So
boundaries not just for dealing with other people, they're for dealing with yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my, I don't have resolutions as such, but something for going into this year of the horse, 2026, is for me.
Appropriate, by the way.
Sorry? How perfect. Talking about the gorgeous horses. Absolutely.
Exactly.
How wonderful we're in the year of the horse. But no, it's quality over quantity. And I've always, everything I've ever done, I've given quality to. But I must admit, and probably not last year, the year before, I probably felt quite burnt out by the end of the year. And I thought, that's crazy, because this is, you know, this isn't life. I'm a firm believer in the spiritual side and you know, finding myself and helping other people, but also very firmly planting my feet on this earth and enjoying it. You know, I'm a human being and I'm going to enjoy this experience. So this year for me is very much about my quality over quantity of work. So, yeah. That's what I'm going to be doing. Yeah.
We have certain rituals that we do here on the show to wind up every episode. Don't know what because the way you came onto the show. Most people who come onto the show are people who are actively trying to get onto podcasts and they're promoting things and so forth. And that doesn't necessarily fit what you're doing here. But do you want to give people a way to reach out to you, particularly people in your area?
Yeah, I definitely. My website is under construction at the moment because it's changing. So it's a holding page at the moment. I think it's got my phone number on it though. My website is www.haneys.co.uk. My business is called Haneys Holistic Wellbeing, as you know. And people can also find me on Instagram, which is Haneys_holistic. So if you look up Haneys Holistic Wellbeing, you will find me. And yeah. Thank you for that. Always interested to talk, to meet new people. We've got the Wellbeing Festival coming up again in a few weeks, which I'm looking forward to, because the last one last year, I wasn't sure about doing it, and it was the first one. I gave that talk, Anne-Marie, but this year I'm also doing a workshop as well as a talk. But honestly, I met so many wonderful people. I really did, you included. I mean, I've met some absolutely gorgeous people. So I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, anyone can reach out. Love to see them for Reiki or to come to our meditation groups, of which Anne-Marie has started coming to. I hold monthly, sometimes bi-monthly, but we try and do them monthly, every 4 to 6 weeks. And they're well, I think they're lovely. Really nice group of people. And I often channel Reiki as they're meditating. So you get the whole experience.
We do, and we get sound therapy sometimes, and we get just meet lovely people and do little. I wrote my poem. I haven't written a poem in years. I wrote a poem in 20 minutes. It was great.
I'll tell you, this girl talks about her writing. Well, the last one we did just before Christmas, I can't remember what was our theme. What were we doing, Anne-Marie? God, isn't that terrible? I can't remember.
We were just getting rid of the old and what we want to see. Do we want to plant the new?
You're absolutely right. It was deep reflection on the year that's just gone, wasn't it? And just planting sort of the seeds for what we would like to manifest in 2026. And I've said to people, if you want to bring a little reading or a poem to share, you don't have to, no obligation. But we were quite a small group. I think it was only about 10 of us that night. And so you're very welcome if you want to share anything. And Anne-Marie had arrived early and written a poem in the car, and it was absolutely beautiful. And I think that you definitely must pursue your writing. You really should.
Not the first time she's heard that one. She's heard that one a few times on this show.
Yeah. Well, make sure I'll be encouraging. You encourage her there, well, and I'll be encouraging her here. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is too much pressure.
Well, Amory, if you think that's pressure, you know what the next pressure is.
Oh my God, you're going to make me sum up, aren't you? As well as introducing, I thought I was going to get out of it.
Are we? I can't see the time. But this clock I've got by me is broken. What time is it? Are we coming near the end of our session?
Yeah, we are.
We're about 5 minutes over, but that's okay. We can live with that.
That's flown by. Oh. I was worried we would have enough to talk about, but it's been really nice.
That was not an issue. That was not an issue at all.
Oh, so, good. So you're going to sum us up, Anne-Marie?
I am. What I tend to do is, because I'm a listener, will usually ask me to ask some things up from a listener's perspective. And obviously I'm really excited about this call because, I felt the benefits of it. And I think how I would sum it up is that we focus so much on our physical health and our mental health. So to me, it makes perfect sense to care for our spiritual bodies and our spiritual health and find whichever practice suits you, because I wasn't in a bad place. I'm very grateful for all that I have. I know I'm very lucky with what I have. But I was in a bit of a pickle last year. So to go for Reiki and have such an immense impact and to feel the healing in such a short space of time was, for me, this is why I wanted you on, Carol, just to start spreading that, and let's all look after our spiritual health.
Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. That's a lovely testimonial. And it's a joy, to see you in the treatment room. But sometimes, do you mind me just saying one thing, guys, before we go?
Yeah.
Sometimes that word, and we know about it, spiritual, can put people off. So I don't mind you. But what I'm going to say is Reiki isn't just about the spiritual. Reiki, because for some people it has religious connotations or spiritual. They think of all woo-woo, whatever that means. I'm told. Yeah,
probably energetic would be a better word.
Yeah, exactly. What's woo-woo? But it's about. You're right, we are a pie chart, and we've got to take care of our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. But spirituality is connecting to something, well, the whole, and we are part of that whole, and it's finding that connection.
Yeah.
But for me, Reiki is very much about finding who we truly are. So whether or not, everybody needs to find that, because from the day we're born, society, we have layers on us, don't we? From the family we're born into, the religion we might be born into, from family values, the school we went to, the people we mix with, what our parents do for a living, who they mix with, all these things. And we have expectations upon us often, and layers, and then we have the roles on top of all the expectations, whatever we are. I'm a mother, a wife, a daughter, a friend, a cousin, a sister. And we often go through life and lose ourselves. Who am I? I'm meeting everybody else's expectations. I'm trying to be joyful. I'm trying to be grateful. You mentioned grateful there. And a lot of people feel guilty because they think, well, I've got a nice house, I've got a loving husband or wife, I've got children, or I've got a gorgeous cat, I've got a good job, I'm healthy. Why do I not feel great? Yeah. So for me, Reiki isn't just about spirituality. It's about peeling back the layers and the roles and allowing people in that space to find who they truly are, to touch. I always think Reiki is like a hug for your soul, and it's finding that connection. And once we find that connection to who we truly are, and that power we all have here, that power, my goodness, then we can start evolving and growing and enjoying life. And for me, that's what it's all about.
I love
she
that.
did better than I did. That was a better ending than mine.
Oh, I didn't mean to take that break and do a better ending than yours. I was just didn't want people to think Reiki was only spiritual.
Yes.
I've got a lot of clients that, aren't that way inclined, but come to me for feeling better, for finding, a way through all these layers.
My experience is that Reiki is very much of a physical experience. I mean, I associate the spiritual side, but the actual experience is just purely physical. And it's astonishing how strong the physical side of it is.
Absolutely. Well, we all know our body. How important are our bodies? We all talk about the mind, which is, of course, terribly important, and we mustn't forget that. But our bodies speak to us all the time. Our bodies tell us what's happening. There's a book, isn't there? It's a very old book, but it's called The Body Keeps Score. It truly does. Everything that happens to us is imprinted somewhere in this body, be it in one of the 7 major chakras, might be in your knee, your ankle, could be in your shins, it might be in your shoulder. But every life experience we've had that's gone through us, that's leaves some sort of imprint. And when it's a dense imprint, or it's traumatic, and we haven't processed it, that's still in here somewhere in this body, and it keeps score. And for me, Reiki is a way of gently dissolving those blocks and those traumas.
That's beautifully summarized. I like that. That's a good finishing point. Well, actually, there's one other finishing point that we do, and it's a little bit different in your case from what most guests are all about when they come onto the show, because like I said, most of them are promoting something, and that's not really what you're here for. But it still applies to you, because not just the fact that you did this podcast, but I'm sure there are many different ways that you apply what you've learned about Reiki in your life beyond your practice. I mean, you have your practice, and certainly you're helping a lot of people there, but you're also helping people outside of it. You're just sharing information in all the ways that you share the information. And that ties into what I like to do every episode, because we have now reached a stage, particularly with the modern technology, where we're reaching people. Very often we're sharing information with people that we never know where they're getting, what they're doing with the information that they get from us, and how they're applying it, and what the victories are that they're achieving, or what the defeats they're experiencing, or anything like that. But we're helping people without even realizing it. That's the ripple effect. That's that energetic ripple effect.
Absolutely.
And we don't get much credit for it, which I say, well, wait a minute, we should do something about that. So I like to say, Carol, on behalf of those people that you've never met and never seen and never will meet and never will see, who you've been helping in ways you didn't even know about, on their behalf, thank you for what you're doing, because you're making a difference in this world.
Well, thank you. That's really sweet. And thank you for having me, because I've really enjoyed our chat this evening. It's been great.
We've enjoyed it as well.
And next time we can talk about meditation.
We could do a whole hour on that one. I mean,
let's. We'll do that.
So thank you very much. Thank you to our podcast listeners everywhere. We will see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.